Hello students, today we are starting with this new chapter, that is materials, metals and nonmetals. So students, first of all we will start with the elements. Materials which cannot be broken down into simpler substances and which are composed of similar molecules are called element. The smallest unit of element is called atom. There are 118 known elements. Out of that, 94 occur naturally on this earth. These elements are divided into three groups: metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. You come across in our day to day life with various things which are made up of metals and nonmetals. And what are metalloids? Metalloids are actually the elements which possess the characteristic of both the metals and the nonmetals. Example are gallium, silicon, arsenic, and many others. Students, you might have seen various things made up of aluminium, copper, iron, so they all are metals. Have you ever seen coal, sulfur, diamond, graphite? Actually, they all are nonmetals. And these metals and nonmetals can be classified on the basis of their physical and chemical properties. So first of all, we will discuss about the physical properties of metals and nonmetals. So first property is metals are generally solids except mercury. Yes students, mercury which you have learned in standard 7th in thermometer. This mercury is used in thermometer. Why? Because this is the only metal which is liquid at room temperature. Now the nonmetals can be solid, liquid or gas. Second thing, the metals are hard except sodium and potassium. They can be cut with the help of knife. Nonmetals are generally soft and brittle. Brittle means if suppose they are hammered, then they will break into several pieces except diamond. Metals are lustrous. It means they are shiny by nature. But nonmetals are non-lustrous except graphite, diamond and iodine. Then metals are sonorous. They produce ringing sound. But the nonmetals are non-sonorous. But some exceptions are there in the metals also. They are sodium, potassium and mercury. They don't produce the ringing sound. Now, metals are malleable. It means they can be beaten into thin sheets except sodium, potassium and mercury. But nonmetals are non-malleable. They cannot be drawn, they cannot be beaten into thin sheets. Now, the sixth point is metals are ductile. It means they can be drawn into thin wires except mercury, sodium and potassium. But when we talk about nonmetals, they are non-ductile. They cannot be drawn into thin wires. Now, metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, but the nonmetals are poor conductor of heat and electricity except graphite. You might be knowing that graphite is a very good conductor of heat as well as electricity. Now the metals have high melting and boiling point, but in the case of nonmetals, the melting and boiling point of nonmetals are comparatively low in comparison to the metals. And now students, let us discuss about the chemical properties of metals and nonmetals. So first of all, we will discuss about the metals and the nonmetals when they react with oxygen. In the case of metals, they are highly reactive. Metals react with oxygen to form metallic oxides, and these metallic oxides are basic in nature. Students, do you remember that rusting process? Yes, when the iron is kept in the atmosphere, it means when it comes in contact with the oxygen and water, what is formed? Ferrous oxide is formed, and that is the rust. Then magnesium plus oxygen gives magnesium oxide. When the magnesium ribbon is burn, what is formed? Ash is formed, and that ash is actually the magnesium oxide. And when that magnesium oxide is dissolved in water, they form magnesium hydroxide. And now we will test that magnesium hydroxide with the help of litmus paper. And when we will dip the red and blue litmus paper in magnesium hydroxide, we will see that the red litmus paper turns blue. It means the metallic oxide is basic in nature. Now you are in the metals you can see the third reaction, that is of copper. Have you seen the copper also get rusted? Yes, a greenish deposit appears on the surface of copper vessels. Actually, it is due to the formation of copper hydroxide and copper carbonate. This copper reacts with the water and carbon dioxide and oxygen and form copper hydroxide and copper carbonate, which appears in the form of this greenish coat, and so the copper metal appears green in color. Now coming to the nonmetals not react spontaneously. They don't react vigorously, means when burned in air they produce nonmetallic oxides, and nonmetallic oxides are acidic in nature. If suppose this sulfur dioxide, if it is mixed with water, it forms sulfurous acid. Do you remember where you people have seen this reaction? Yes, during the acid rain, the sulfur dioxide vapor goes up and it get mixed with water and comes in the form of acid rain, that is sulfurous acid. Now, how the metals and nonmetals reacts with water? Metals react with water to form metallic oxide and hydrogen. Metallic oxides are basic in nature. Sodium, but the reaction with water, different elements have different response when they are reacted with water. Like sodium reacts vigorously with water, but some metals like iron reacts slowly with water, and silver and gold do not react with water. But nonmetals do not react with water. Now we will discuss about the acids, how the metals and nonmetals react with acids. Metals react with acid to form metallic salts and hydrogen gas. If you will bring a burning matchstick near the mouth of the test tube in which the reaction has been taken place, what you will observe? You will observe a pop sound. Actually, this pop sound confirms the presence of hydrogen gas, and this shows that whenever the acid reacts with metals, they produce hydrogen gas along with the metallic salt. Now, this copper does not react with dilute hydrochloric acid even on heating, but it reacts with sulfuric acid. These nonmetals do not react with dilute acid, but some can react with concentrated acid. Now next, that is bases. So some metals react with bases to form hydrogen gas, but in the case of nonmetals, the reactions are very complex. Now coming to the next topic, that is displacement reaction. Displacement reaction means to replace something. If a metal replace some another metal from its salt solution, then that type of reaction is called displacement reaction. Actually, this reaction takes place on the basis of the reactivity series. You can see the potassium is the most reactive metal and the gold is the least reactive metal. And in between the potassium and gold, there are so many metals present. And according to this reactivity series, and this reactivity series goes on decreasing when we go on the lower side. So according to this reactivity series, the metals replaces each other. It means the more reactive metal can replace a less reactive metal, and but a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal. You have seen one example in standard 7th about the copper sulfate and iron. If you place a blade in a copper sulfate solution, as you can see, the iron, that is Fe, is more reactive than copper. So the blade is made up of iron, so that iron will replace the copper from the copper sulfate solution. Actually, the copper sulfate solution is the salt solution of copper. So the iron will replace that copper, and the color of that copper sulfate solution will turn green, and this type of reaction is called displacement reaction. One example is given over here, that zinc replaces copper from copper sulfate solution, but copper is not able to replace zinc from zinc sulfate solution. You can see that copper is at lower level in this reactivity series, but the zinc is on the higher level. So copper is unable to replace the zinc, means those who are weaker, they cannot replace the strongest one. So the strongest one will fight and they will replace the weakest one and take its place. Actually, this is the displacement reaction. So students, now we will discuss the uses of metals and non-metals. The uses of metals you are knowing, yes, they are used in the making of cooking utensils, making machineries, automobiles, trains, satellites, industrial gadgets. What about the non-metals? Yes, you are right. Oxygen that we use for breathing, that is a non-metal. Then the non-metals are used in fertilizers. They are used in water purification system. Yes, think about that sewage system. What is used? Chlorine tablets are used. And what is chlorine? Chlorine is a non-metal. Now, these non-metals are used as antiseptic, that is iodine, and these non-metals are also used in crackers. And now you can think more uses of metals and non-metals. So students, now I think you might be able to classify between the metals and non-metals on the basis of their physical and chemical properties. Thank you, students.